What's going on YouTube? Ajtbls here, coming to you today post GOAT pseudo retirement, focusing on Edison. This is a Edison match replay of myself on Blackwing versus a Diva Hero Beat OTK type deck. I gotta take that back. No divas in this list, but this is a popular list that I've been seeing more and more of on the ladder. It's kind of like that glass cannon build that has Malicious and Snowman, and you'll see more when we get into the replay. But I felt like this was a cool game to go over, and I'm on Blackwings as usual. I kind of want to focus more so on just Blackwings and really just master this deck, and maybe take my talents to Vayu Turbo after. But I like the Blackwing cards. I like the attribute and just the type. So let's continue here. Or the type of card, not necessarily attribute. So we lose rock, paper, scissors. Unfortunate, especially in Edison format. And our opponent is going first. Probably one of the better hands that they could possibly have. I mean, I'm not a master of playing his deck, so I'm sure that this was probably the best opening line they could have done. I know it sucks that they opened Malicious. It's probably better for the Future Fusion just to dump it, but let's go ahead and go on our turn. So they set Sangan and pass. For us here, it's an interesting spot. I don't know what he's on right now. Usually when an opponent T-sets, I think it's just automatically Raikou. So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, so I'm just going to summon an attack. I have a setup for later with a Vayu, so if this thing went to the graveyard, it's not the end of the world. And then he searches King of the Swamp, so right away I was just like, okay, this is probably some sort of, OTK type deck. And I set 2 here just to, I was reading that this is possibly MST or Dust or some sort of removal, and I don't think he pro-stormed me, so this was the play just to try to keep my Mirror Force, but it turns out we're not going to be keeping it. Opponent just decides to pass. I'm going to attack. If he has a Gorz, he has a Gorz. We'll eventually have a way to answer it, and we set Raikou, of course, so this can set up Mills for our Blizzard. In my list, I know this is going to get some questions in the comment sections. I've been experimenting maining one main deck Raikou. I do only main deck 2 Boras, so I've been finding success with the one main deck Raikou, and I've been enjoying it, so I think I'm going to be continuing that build. He unfortunately brain controls me here, and then attacks my face down, which is like kind of the only punish to my play, and he found it. The play is definitely still to do it, to pop and mill, just because I don't think that I was going to be getting back my Sirocco. I was also scared of Caius. He activates Future Fusion here. We have no response except our set Heavy Storm, obviously. So, yeah, he sends a Treeborn Frog and an Ocean. So, right when I seen this, I was like, okay, I kind of know what type of build he's on now. And we draw another Blizzard. So, we can't kill him here as close as we are. I see that we can go... we could get him for 46. We can make Brio bounce and then bring out an Armed Wing. But we don't have lethal. So I think the play is just to make a friendly Goyo, attack him for 28 and pass. We're quite high, and I don't really think we're at risk of dying necessarily, so that's what we do. Make a Goyo and punch, and then we're looking to kill next turn. So he gets 1 on the Future Fusion, and he draws a really good card. In his perspective, he doesn't know that he's just dead on his turn. Moray of Greed is extremely annoying, of course, because he's now going to be able to get more cards. And he draws, thankfully for us, another Mali. So he's bricking up. And he does draw Diva. So apologies, he's on the Diva beat variant. Of course it runs Diva. And here comes the 0. He's doing his Miracle play. He'll take 300, and he's just dead on his turn. Okay, so we can go to the next game. This is just going to be bounce the Stratos and attack for a game. So we've seen a Sangan. We have not seen Snowman Eater yet. I don't think. Now we see Snowman. We're just going to set our Raikou. We know that we're, not really at risk of dying with it. And he doesn't have Raikou, so this is okay. Of course, he takes Stratos and summons. I don't really think we can bottomless this. I think it's just a -1. It's fine. And I'm also reading that this card is Sangan. So it's either Sangan or something he doesn't care about at all. So I just take out the Stratos here. I know it's a -1, but at least we're getting some mills. Obviously, if we could see the cards, taking the Snowman would be the better option. Mills were decent. We've got some targets for our Blizzard, and we draw Shura. So if I'm reading this is Sangan, this is a good spot to just summon an attack. And unfortunately, it is Snowman Eater, so Snowman gets a +1. And he heavies me, polys. I think I'm just dead, actually. Yeah, it's just over. So the OTK here is quite a lot. That is 6, 65, 83. Okay, on to the next game. Okay, so we're going first in a game 3. No monster, a lot of traps. I think the play here is probably just, I mean, we can't give 2 for 1 heavied. You could probably just set MST and pass or set prison, one of those two. Yeah, we decided to go prison. He does draw Storm, so thankfully we didn't set more than 1. And the play is again just pass. Brain's a good card. And now he does Storm us. And this is going to take Stratos, so eventually pressure is coming. Let's see what he decides to do here. Yep, so he's just going to just send it, and we got to take it. It's 4,300. Thankfully, we have his heavy's gone, and we have Mirror Force, and could live a couple more turns. We draw Oppression, which is decent, so now we should just be setting a whole bunch of things. Heavy is gone. This 18 we have to take, which sucks, but it is what it is. And we draw Trap Dust Shoot. Got to set it, and we'll activate. We see his cards. So now we're in an interesting spot, right? So let's talk about this spot here. I think we have to use Mirror Force because we have Brain Control. We do have no immediate removal to the 0, and if we take this damage, that means our Brain Control will be dead for sure. And if we're just looking at our top decks here, this is kind of an interesting spot. We have a lot of tops that we actually will do more than just live on. Like any Blackwing we'll have Icarus for. And we also have a cool play that I'll discuss about in a second with this Brain Control. So I think we do Mirror Force. At this point, we can kind of rule out that this card is Sangan. Where in game 2, we were like, okay, that card's probably Sangan. And in this spot here, I think the play is pretty simple. You Brain Control and attack the set. I think it's going to be Snowman Eater more likely than not. So you know how he got us in game 2 with his Stratos attacking our Raikou? We're getting him here with his 0 attacking his own Snowman. So that's going to force a response. Let's see what he decides to do. And he Mirror Forces, which we are good with. That is a 2 for 1. And now we can also confirm that this card is, in fact, Snowman. And now you just set Prison and MST and pass. And what does our opponent decide to do here? He does have an active Miracle if he wants it. He decides not to. It's probably a good play. I mean, I do have 5 back rows. And we're drawing not monsters, but more traps, so more protection for the future. And he's just passing back and forth, and this is a great draw, so just set it and pass. So now he's going to be having to commit cards, and we'll MST one of them. I think Raikou should be flipped now, targeting the back row. Yeah, so we take out a back row. He does not chain. And now we activate our Allure, digging for cards, and we're now in a good spot. So we are reading that this card is for sure Snowman. How do we get over a Snowman in this spot? Well, we could just set Shura, Icarus it, these two attack for 200 and set some traps. I think that's probably a good play. Yeah. Okay. And we do attack here. If he has Gores, he has Gores. We eventually will have to play through it regardless, and the token will only be at 200, so it's a good time to bait it. And now we should be setting Solemn and setting a Bottomless. Yep. Okay, so he does draw Gore's Return, and he just chooses to pass. Now we bring out our Blizzard, and we are still not convinced that the previous turn he didn't have Gores, and he actually didn't. He top decked Gores for his turn, but in real time I was like, I'm still not convinced here. I'm just going to attack with these two and then keep the bodies. And then now the play is making Colossal. We got traps to protect it, and we have Solemn and whatnot, so we just don't want to lose the battle. So I think that Colossal is a good call. We can eventually also beat over the Gores. Salvage comes down. Have to allow it. Not going to Solemn Salvage. Okay, so he sets the Snowman. We now know it's Snowman. All right, so we're going to use our DDV here. We're going to beat over the Gores, make him take 300. Then we will deck Devi it, see his hand, throw away his stuff. Deck Devi came in huge there and attack him for 18. And we'll set the Icarus and pass. All right, so we have, from earlier in a very despairing situation, we took a lot of early damage, which is something that I find happens a lot on Blackwing, because you take a lot of early chip shots, and that's fine. You just got to know that like later in the game or mid-game, that's where you're going to take control of it and resecure the card advantage, whether it's by battle, by Icarus, or whatever. So we see his hand, and this is a very easy spot. You use the Oppression for 1 so that the Solemn will be cheap, and also you get a +1, so pay 800. This one here, we have the Solemn, and can't really do much here. So again, we don't draw a way to kill him, just attack for 18 and set Icarus and pass. I was thinking about tributing it, but it doesn't really change the clock. And you draw Salvage, so that's a really good draw for him. All of this is fine. This is not fine, of course. Okay, so we allow this to go through. The reason why we're doing that is we're going to get value from one of our own dead Oppression. We're just going to use Icarus, target the Oppression, and then that. And that saves our Bottomless and our Prison, so we found a way to, like, Icarus and not be at a huge L, and then he just sets the known Snowman. We set back our cards and pass, and we do set our own Oppression against for the same reason last turn, that we get to see, like, that we get to use it just in case as an Icarus target, etc. Let's see what he decides to do here. He decides to pass, and we just drew game. So we will special summon this, pump, and then we will Icarus target and target one of our own back row and attack for 33. So I think we played overall pretty well here. We didn't resolve Whirlwind in any of the games, so I guess this is kind of, I don't want to say a tutorial how to win without Whirlwind, but it's a lot harder to win without Whirlwind. This was a very well-played match from both players, in my opinion. He could have easily just lost the game if he fired off his Miracle earlier, and I just paid Hunter with Oppression. But this guy managed his resources quite well, and we got fortunate to get it. So this is one of the replays from my ladder grind, and expect more videos on Blackwings. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to hear from you in the comment section.